I have absolutely nothing to look forward to but a painless, swift, and a dignified death in the future. Yes, that is the absolute truth of my current mental state and outlook about life. Nothing beats nothing. Absolutely nothing needs to exist. This whole existence is freaking shit, freaking depressing, a freaking scam, a freaking Ponzi scheme, to say the least. What is going on, YouTubers? It's the 19th of September, year 2025, at Australian Eastern Standard Time / Sydney time. So it's been a while since my previous filming session, and I don't currently feel like filming a live stream. So here I am again, just ranting about life, about my shitty life in particular. But you know, regardless of what I've already said, on top of what I've already said and spit out by analyzing the fundamental, the intrinsic nature of life via various means, you know, scientific and philosophical fashion. Well, as you can see and reckon, nowadays on YouTube, it's turned into an absolute rubbish bin, full of AI, full of AI contents, full of those sort of shite, voiced by AI, created by AI, with phony accounts, you know, and broadcasting loads of crap with absolutely no scientific evidence to back them up. Such as, you know, well, most typically speaking, such as, you know, those that you know, that trying to gaslight you into believing that you are the chosen one, or blah blah blah. You are chosen by God, chosen by Jesus, and shit, and you know, just propagating those propagandas, saying that in case of a chosen one, you choose to be alone, you choose to enjoy your solitude and loneliness, marginalization by the mainstream human population, blah blah blah, and all those meaningless garbage and shit. And I'd hate to sound as if I am trying to convert you into Christianity, but as the Bible says, in particular the book of Ecclesiastes, not quote unquote nothing new under the sun. It holds absolutely true. It's especially in this day and age. There's just absolutely nothing to look forward to. There's or to enjoy. I don't know about you, but in my case, nowadays I just I find hardly anything enjoyable, or at least as enjoyable as they were even several years ago. Even several years ago, back then, even back back in year 2023, back in year 2024, even I still kind of used to enjoy at least a bit of video games like StarCraft 2, Dragon Age Inquisition. But nowadays I just I pretty much stopped playing them altogether. Well, except very occasionally I just to dull the pain of my life, to mitigate the boredom, or to suppress the urge, the temptation to commit suicide. I occasionally still play them from time to time, but I hardly, nowadays I just hardly find them in that enjoyable anymore. It is just freaking shit. And I know it may have something to do with my current probably it has a lot to do with my current shit situation or circumstance, characterized by a prolonged period of loneliness and and in impoverishment, or or marginalization by the mainstream society. Though more or less I kind of choose to remain in solitude and loneliness on my own volition, to shut off those noises. And as tragic reality has stated, people are just noises, or at least most of them, the vast majority of them, just tend to say roughly the same things with nearly identical mindsets, either out of either 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 I beg your pardon. Either out of a fear or just a voluntary refusal, or to acknowledge the reality, the truth. But that's that that's not the main theme of this filming session. But nevertheless, it is just there's virtually nothing to enjoy, nothing to look forward to. Well, at least in case you share some character traits and similarities in terms of your current circumstance with me. I believe that you will more or less relate to what I am talking about here. But yeah, it's nowadays, everything just feels so freaking fake. Freaking 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 boring, freaking yawn. They pretty much everything nowadays makes you yawn and want to want to hibernate, want to sleep forever to shield yourself from all this crap of life that we never asked for in the first place. It is just freaking shit. Now nowadays I find myself constantly in conflict with my own self. That says more or less, more often than not, I have to kind of even gaslight myself into into the notion of hope, the notion of that, or the illusion that it may get, the situation may improve sooner or later. But both you and I know that it could, it may very much likely get a lot get worse before it can improve. But I hope, nevertheless, I hope that I am wrong here. I wish nothing but the best for all of you guys out there, and myself, though unfortunately it is just freaking shit. I just see no alternative words to portrait, to to summarize the current situation. let's just say, long story short, we men are so cooked. We are toast, to say the least. Yeah, so I just don't know, but don't like I said, in the beginning of this video, I have absolutely nothing to look forward to but a painless, a swift, and a dignified death. Yeah, so it is just freaking shit. I still haven't yet made up my mind, yet to travel to Hong Kong to attend a numismatics event scheduled to take place in early to mid October, but I still have around a month to make some to get to make some to make some preparations and blah blah blah. But I guess I can only stay in Hong Kong for for 5 to 7 days max, due to a shortage of funds and my weakened cognition, my weakened mental state. But yes, it is pretty hard for for one to commit suicide by running into a train in in Hong Kong, since pretty much every subway station or train station there has the screaming doors, to shield trains and platforms from those wanting or planning to commit suicide. Yeah, but I'm not, though. Yes, however, that 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 having said so, they do not necessarily imply or suggest that I will commit suicide by running into a train, or whatever. But it's just, yeah, I just don't know what else to say other than what I've already said during this filming session. It's life is just meaningless trash, meaningless garbage, and humans are just vain and lame. Just look back look back into the whole human history. The best we can do so far is just maintaining the status quo, and the and yet the there's basically no limit on how much pain, how much affliction you can be subject to, for as long as your life for as long as your life continues, there's just absolutely no limit on how much afflictions you will have to unfortunately endure and deal with and cope with. And sadly, you know, those copes, the overall efficacies of all sorts of copes are quickly fading, are quickly weakening, you know, are quickly you know, being being diminished. The efficacies of all those sorts of copes quickly diminishes over time, and it's just freaking sad and depressing. Yeah, in any regards, please allow me to reiterate my current outlook about life. I have absolutely nothing to look forward to but a painless and swift and a dignified death, because life is absolutely piece of useless rubbish. Thank you very much for watching and being with me until the end of this filming session. In case you have enjoyed it, please consider subscribing and hitting that like at the right hand side of the video. Yeah, so thank you again, and stay until next time. Until next time, if God's still willing. Stay out of trouble and stay far from weak. Cheers, bye.